Aoibheann, we're here to preview the Energia All-Ireland League Women's Division final. It's taking place on Saturday. You've proudly worn the Blackrock colours on your chest. Maybe just catch us up on, just take us back to your last involvement directly on pitch with the club.
Yeah, so my last involvement was the AIL final last year, where unfortunately we didn't get the win. But yeah, unlucky I got injured during summer, so I haven't been able to play this season. But I can't wait to support the girls on Saturday.
Have you noticed much of a change in the squad since that day?
Definitely, we've added like some new players in the likes of Aoibheann, who's got a lot of experience, and she's definitely been like a star player for Rock this season. So definitely more strength and depth in the squad compared to last year.
Cast your mind back to February 2022 and to that final. What did you think? How does the scoreline sit with you in hindsight?
It was a very tight game, in fairness. I feel like Railway were the team that showed up on the day and we stayed in the changing rooms. It's not like performance that we were proud of considering the season we had up until that. We had some great performances and unfortunately we just didn't show up on the day. So I'm sure we've all learned from that and that it's going to be a very different day this coming Saturday.
Yeah, and I want to ask you, obviously these teams meet all the time in the Energia All-Ireland League. Before that final in 21-22, there was a reasonably big win for Blackrock. Took place in Blackrock College. This time around, a 19-17 win. Is it a case that when you win those kind of regular season games, you take what you can out of them, and when you lose them, you say they don't matter, and it's the final that matters? Like, what is there anything to be brought or read, or is there any insight we can gather from the last time Blackrock and Railway met?
I feel like each game, like we treat it as a final with Railway, it's always a tight game and it's a big battle up front and there's not really many opportunities to score against Railway. So you really have to execute and treat every game like, it's the final because ultimately, if you're getting through those like beginning stages of the league, that you're probably going to be meeting Railway. So I think every time you have to take your opportunity.
So yeah, I mean, can we talk a little bit about what you see as their specific strengths in that regard?
Yeah, I just feel like they're a team that's very experienced and they have got loads of depth in their squad. They're a team that if they empty out their bench, it's not going to make a big impact on their performance. So I feel, considering all of that, that they're just a very strong team in the AIL, and that's why many teams fear them. But yeah, I feel like this year we're definitely up for it, considering we have the experience of being in an AIL final from last year, and also, we've got such a good squad this coming Saturday.
All credit to your opposite number, Elsie Hughes, in last year's final. She had a big game. Looking at it for yourself, who are those players that I suppose Blackrock will have to keep an eye out for on Saturday, and maybe who will the fans get a kick out of seeing in a Railway jersey?
Yeah, Ailsa is definitely one of them. She's been in that squad for years now, and she's got loads and loads of experience. She knows what it's like on final day, so she's definitely one. But I feel like the combo of Aoife Doyle and Molly Scuffle McCabe in the backfield, they're dangerous players, and we'll have to look out for them once they get hands on the ball because they're definitely massive running threats in attack.
What kind of game are you expecting on Saturday?
I think it'll be a very tight game with limited opportunities. So I feel the team that executes and gets those opportunities will definitely come away with the win. And I'm hoping it's going to be Blackrock.
Shirley Corcoran, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Ross.
In terms of the last time you would have played, maybe just give us a reminder of that. And I would ask you at the same time, how much has changed in those intervening years?
A lot has changed. For the last time I played was, as I said, 2019 final in Energia Park.
Not a bad way to go out.
It was a great way to go out. I wouldn't have even said I could have dreamt the way it went. It was beyond my expectations. My last game, I actually scored a try, which is unknown, unheard of. So it was a great day. I had all my family there, and yeah, to get the win that year, our first time in the finals, and to get the win was absolutely fantastic. So from there to now, I think the time constraints on the players and the ask of the players has significantly changed. whereby we would have probably been doing our own individual training outside of match day prep and on pitch training. We would have been in the gym ourselves, but it wouldn't have been as focused as it is now. And the girls would have a lot more ask of them from a time perspective, like with skills on a Monday, gym on a Tuesday and Thursday, back on the pitch Tuesday and Thursday evening, and match days then on Saturday. And on top of that, expected to kind of manage the load of off-field training or the asks from a provincial or an international setup. There's a huge an ask, and obviously the physicality of the game because of those players that are coming in and they're more prepped, they're stronger, they're younger, they're fitter and faster. So the pace of the game has definitely changed. If I think of the 2019 final in comparison to last year's final, both excellent games, very tense games, but I think the skill levels that were on show last year really stood out for me as a differentiator.
Yeah, maybe talk to me about that final, just as a way of leading into Saturday, what your thoughts on it were, and the score line as opposed to the result, if you know what I mean. Did that, was that about right, or what were your thoughts?
Yeah. Definitely last year, like score for score, you never knew to the end who was going to come out with the result in it. And I think Blackrock would be right to be bitterly disappointed that they went on the winning side. I think the performance they put in was excellent, very organised, very structured, and Railway played a little bit more off the cuff, which we tend to do. And those we got the rewards for that. I think we had a couple of individual displays as well, like Ailsa Hughes's support lines and her own play that day, getting 2 tries was a big differentiator for us as well. So
at the same time, there are obvious strengths to Blackrock. Can you maybe talk to me about where the significant threats for your opposition on Saturday are?
I think you'd have to be looking at the Blackrock back row. I mean, it's a beautifully balanced back row with Hannah and Maeve and Doherty in there. That's an excellent back row to have to bring in, and their physicality and the intelligence of Hannah as well. I think she's one of the most intelligent rugby players I've seen out there in a long time. And I think in that regard, you'd have to be keeping a close eye on that. And then Enya in at 10 now is a real strength on there. Her communication skills are excellent. If you watch her actually playing, she's constantly talking and bringing her back line into play, and also keeping that connection with the 9 and the pack. And I think they're big players for Blackrock that are going to make a difference for them. And I think, as I said, our own back row will have a work to do to keep an eye on them.
What kind of game are you expecting on Saturday?
Physical. Definitely physical. I think both teams tend to have a bit of an edge every time we play each other. There's always an added bit of pride that comes into that play, and nobody wants to lose to either team. Now I know you can say that comes into every game, but there's some games where that edginess is a little bit higher. I think there's definitely going to be a lot of scores. There's going to be a lot of, as I said, physicality in it. I think that up front, both packs will not take a backward step. And from that regards, I think it's going to be a really tight contest. There's no way I can see how one team would be coming in going, yeah, we've got this in the back pocket. It lends for a lot of entertainment for everybody involved. Not so much for the heart, you have to kind of.
That's fair. So look, close, exciting, entertaining, physical, a final. I hope you're right on all counts. So the very best of luck to you, and thanks for chatting to us.
Thanks a million, Ross. Take care.
Now, to get an independent view on Saturday's final, we turn to rugby analyst, broadcaster, and writer Tom Savage. Tom, how are things?
Not too bad at all.
Any clear advantages between Blackrock College or for Blackrock College and Railway Union this weekend?
I've been watching both teams all season long. They're so evenly matched. That's one of the things you could look at this game, and it's actually one of the biggest features of this game is just how tight it is between both sides. There's a few small things that you would look at that maybe one side has over the other, but they're only very, very marginal. This is, plainly the 2 best sides in the league, and they have just elite quality all the way through. It's going to be a very, very tight final. Whatever happens, it's just the margins are so thin between both sides.
I think for me, just how exciting it is that there are that many big game players, in these squads, players who can adapt, players who can cope with adversity. The fact that they were, as amateur players gearing up for one big game to round out the year, and then this extra week appears out of nowhere, that's really going to challenge these two teams. I'm sure the conditions are going to come into it as well.
Oh, they will. Look, I think the conditions, like, it's supposed to be not too bad for the weekend. Certainly not as cold as the last week, we'll say, that's led to this game being played on this Saturday.
It's rare. It's rare in Ireland where the fact that it's due to rain means conditions are improving.
Yes, yeah, we're actually looking forward. A bit of rain, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Like, you look at I suppose the challenge of it is that you have this big game coming up, and then it's bumped to a week later. This happens in the game, but I think when it's a final, when it's this big, when it's the stakes are this high, there's of course a challenge there for these players. But I think looking at the groups that are there, both sides, these are players who have been performing to a very high level all season long. So I think for them, this is just going to be just another week on the job, so to speak. So I think looking at how they approach the game, I would say there'll be a lot of relish there. Like, I think both sides are ready to get at each other at this stage, because you look at this season, it's been condensed but intense. So I think I look at a lot of these games and a lot of these players, they're ready to roll. And I think it's going to be a really, really good final.
Yeah, you're looking at 20 plus internationals out on the park, current and former. In terms of the key battlegrounds in the winning and losing this game, and please don't say the pitch as the answer, is there anything in particular that you've been looking at?
Yeah, look, it's very difficult to pull any sort of difference between both sides. I think they're so evenly matched, as I said. Honestly, I think for me, kicking will be the big battleground in this game. I think looking at Railway, they have a little bit more variety in their kicking game. You look at how they use it. You've got Nikki Cahy. She will kick, and she's a really good kicker, but they will get that ball deep into the layers as well and kick from further back and maybe further out and at an angle. What Railway are very good at doing, and they've done all season long, is kicking into that space, maybe just behind the edge of the defensive line, and getting a really hard, aggressive chase up there. Not only will they pressure you under a bouncing ball, which again will be a factor in Energia Park this weekend, but they will then look to try and really squeeze you at the breakdown. They won a few good breakdown penalties against Blackrock, doing exactly that in their last game. Whereas if you look at Blackrock, Enya Breen is somebody who is a really accurate kicker. So she generally will kick slightly deeper and not, as we'll say, as shallow as what Railway do, but she's really accurate. She, like in this game against Railway a couple of weeks ago, like, she got that ball right onto a runner and really pressured that ball as a contestable. She's really, really good at doing that. And I think in this game, given both sides are going to be so physically closely matched, I mean, you look at the back fives for both sides, like the back rows in particular, like so much physicality there. I think the team who kicks better in this game and who kicks with a little bit more variety with regards to where they kick from and where they kick to, I think they'll be in a much, much closer position to win this game, because I think that whoever kicks better will do better then on transition. And when we look at the quality of both sides, the quality of both back rows over the ball, those few penalties that you might win in and around your 10-meter line or their 10-meter line will be the difference in this game. I think, given the size of both teams' lineouts, how important the maul is in the modern game, I think this is going to be a huge battleground. Whoever kicks better, I think, will win this game.
Thanks, Tom. Tickets available. The best place to enjoy it, of course, is from the stand in Energia Park. Tickets available through irishrugby.ie. But if you can't make it, it will be live on TG Cahir with a 2 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, December 17th.